why do you want to convert? Right. You know, so I did theme this, my David Bowie theme. I changed it from a Christmassy theme, but after David Bowie died, he's a local boy, town near me, so I rethemed it. So, why do you want to change? Right. These are my answers. Okay. Right. Because it makes me feel really good to go and move to those things. Okay. You know, it's a much better language. Okay, and it really pleases me because, to be honest, JavaScript, when I first saw it, no, it'll go away. It'll go away way long enough to be a proper language like those Java languages I'm used to, C++, proper one, you know, proper web language, didn't go away. But it's got a lot better, right? And it is now becoming a good language. And to be honest, what we've currently got to what we're going to, that's a big jump. And it's becoming proper language in as much as I would have used it if it had been presented to me this way 5 years ago.
You can be honest, no one has tomatoes in their pockets. You're good.
Okay, now, this is the real answer you have to give your boss, right? Because, you know, you're working on projects that have to make money, okay? Stuff that already makes money, okay? Okay, right, so your code, you'll know this, your code looks a lot better when you use promises, when you use coroutines, when you use yield statements. There is no comparison, okay? I'm just going through the reasons why, first of all, because sometimes you have to justify what you're doing, okay? If you want a single look and feel to your project, you know, this is a good way to go, just converting the entire thing, okay? If you require a really good linting standard, okay? If you want to have easier maintenance, and trust me, if you have lots of callbacks or even lots of chain promises, it's nothing compared to what you can do with yield and coroutines at the moment. It's just, there's no comparison. Okay, and the last thing is, well, to be honest, if you're going to maintain this thing, you've got no choice. It's going to happen anyway, it's just a case of when and how. So, what I'm going to tell you about is one way of how. And a lot of this does apply to the browser side. And in fact, a lot of the caveats I've added into this all apply to the browser side. Because just recently I've heard a lot about the new ES module loader coming in and how that's going to work. And a lot of that was a little bit scary to me. So, these are the goodies you basically get. Prizes for anyone that can name all three guys on the top right-hand side. They're all well known in New York.
Bowie, Pop, and Louie.
Top man there. I showed them to the kids at work. They didn't know any of them. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's why I work with kids at less than half my age, but you know, they're full of energy. So these are the things that I like. These are the goodies. This is sort of like it's not just eye candy. These really do make a huge amount of difference to your code. Whether you're on the Node side, like me, I'm full-time Node. You know, I do a bit of syntactic sugar sometimes, send email templates out. You know, think I'm trying to develop and that sort of thing. But basically, the real backplane of the new standard, and you'll be using this all the time once you convert. You'll be thinking, why was I doing it the old way? Why would I ever want to go back? Generators and use coroutines. The two, and I'll go through that a little later. I don't know how familiar you are with them. Anyone really familiar with the generators and coroutine use case? It will turn something from 100 lines into something of 20 lines, and you know, all the ifs and the ends, they just go away. It's like writing asynchronous code synchronously, and it is. I have some references. It is a huge step forward. String template interpolation. You know, you've got backtick arrows. You'll be using it all the time. You'll be wondering, how on earth did I live with all these plus signs all through my code? Uglifying it. You don't need a package to uglify it. You can just use plus signs. That's just the way it happens. And arrow functions. And arrow functions do work a little bit differently from normal function. You know, this is not quite the same, but you'll get used to it. You know, these are the good things about going forwards, and these are the whys. And I'm sure you can probably go forwards. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to have some caveats about converting any project. Yeah. Now, if you've got a project and it's not unit tested, your code isn't unit tested, just forget about it. Go and write your unit test, right? Because this isn't going to work. Because the way I'm going to explain how you can convert it, it does require that you can test it. Because without tests, you're never, well, you're going to know eventually because your customer's going to script. But the first thing is you've got to be unit tested. The second thing is you really must be linted. And I don't, you know, anyone can choose that. I love ES links. There's so many good linting ones out there. I don't know how I get by without them. But without a good linting at all, it's going to be a bit more difficult. because that's going to catch a lot of your problems. And 3, well structured. Now, we'll have our ideas of how code should be laid out in directory structures and folders, and some of us even have strong opinions about that. But when you open a project like Express, a really widely used project, you open it up a folder and it just goes shook with all the files in it. Yeah, that's great. You know, I'm really going to be able to find the files in there. So if you move away from that, and when I say well structured, that's what I mean. You know, just a few files in each folder so you can find things, and they should be structured properly. And there's a reason for that, because the way I'm going to advise you to convert projects will allow you to convert one a bit at a time, rather than going, you know, ES5, ES2015 done. You can do just a bit every day, test it, and slowly work through your project. So, what's holding you back? Right, sometimes it's a little bit scary going forwards, right? There are 2 things I really think holding you back. There's fear, and then there's payback, right? Because let's face it, our bosses, our customers, do they really care what language is written in? And the answer is, actually, no, they don't. They just want it to work well and look nice and be intuitive, and they want to be able to interact with our applications. So those are actually pretty big holding back points. That's David, you've got the arrested in upstate New York. Quite like that. Try to work it in there somehow. And that's also David's not listening. No, I don't want to convert. I don't want to convert. So those are the real things. I think fear and paybacks on any sort of project are actually 2 of the things that would hold you back. Okay, so I was going to come up with a metric for you. I'd like a 10,000 line project. I've gone through lots of node projects now, converting them one by one. It was a long day, and I was a bit ticked off, but I did like 10,000 lines of jobs in one day. Obviously the first 200 lines took 5 hours, and then after that, once I'd written a few scripts and things, I just went woof and through them. But I do have to caveat, the projects I'm converting are really well unit tested, and really well linted, and really, I think, quite well structured, in my opinion of what the structuring should be anyway. So, you can do this mechanically, and what I'm going to try and tell you how to do is how to do this mechanically without really using your brain too much. It's exciting for the first 2 files, after that it's not exciting at all. So, wrong direction. Now we get to the how. Okay, so in any file system, you've got lots of JavaScript files. Now, in Node, I'm not rolling it up. If you're on the browser side, you will be either transpiling, maybe now, I don't know, or not transpiling, rolling it up, using roll up or browserify, I don't know which tools you're using. You'll be taking code in a directory structure and turning it for your build process into something else. So that actually doesn't matter. You'll still be doing that anyway, okay? But it's the actual initial set of code, how you actually convert that from sort of JavaScript 5 to ES2015. I'm concerned with. So this is what I was talking about. This goes on. This I couldn't do. This is Express. This is big time download, and I kind of looked at what's the worst case in one of the projects I've done. This is the longest list of files I've got in any project. I took the worst one I possibly had. And even that's too big, you know, I should have subdivided it. If you've got things like this, what I'm going to propose may not be for you. Because what I'm going to propose is you start at a file leaf folder down in your directory tree, and you work up. And you convert one by one, unit testing, converting in, and if you do it that way, it's quite straightforward. Tooling. Just look for a few NPM packages to do this. This is called LBAD now. They changed the name. They spelled it Babel backwards. They just that happened in the last week. I didn't change my widget on there. They rechanged that package. Just had a few scripts. I had linked. I had X to 6, and I had a few class scripts. You do know, just for a few edge cases that did not get converted. Yeah. When I ran the installs. Okay, so what I do, and it's really very, very mechanical, is I run these conversion tools. What they do is they convert your vars, you know, to lets and consts. They parse it and work out what you should change functions from regular functions to arrow functions where they can, and convert your code to something quite pretty. Okay, So if you start at the very bottom of your directory structure and run some tools on it, you can convert the very bottom files. Now, notice I've got two different versions of lint here. I've got a lint for ES5 and a lint for ES2015. Because after you've converted it, you want to actually lint it and make sure it's working and re-unit test it. And if you've got integration testing, you just run the whole thing. You start off just by doing a couple of files, right down at the very bottom of your directory structure. Okay, so here it is in words. Choose the deepest, furthest, farthest part away of your project. Go in there, convert your code. Run your linting on it. Make sure it works. Fix any lint, run your transpiler, run your unit tests. Just start off with one file, converting it, to the new syntax. Get rid of all your bars, change the lefts and cons. Do this in a mechanical fashion. The tools actually will do most of it for you on the first run. Okay, so you look at it, you think that looks nice. That's cool, and you're on it, and it works, and you'll be happy. Trust me. You'll be happy, moderately happy. So this is kind of what will happen when you run like X6 or LBAT on it now. You'll have a function, and it'll run through it, and it'll change it. You'll hurt vars, you'll end up with constants on the other side. It'll do all like what you call hoof work for you. So you have to do less work by yourself. Now you're going to have to do work by yourself, but that work by yourself is going to be fun. Trust me, it is. It's going to be the real sugary stuff that's kind of good about ES2015. So you run some tools on down through the structure. It'll change it, and then basically with ESLint has some configuration properties, meaning you can put the different lint files in different parts of the directory structure. That's the big hit with this. So you don't need to convert your project overnight. You don't need to lose your linting abilities. You don't need to lose your testing abilities. You can actually move your lint file down into the subfolder you converted. Say, well, these are my rules for this folder, and I'm going to run them. And the rest of the directory structure, well, I'm going to apply other rules to. And whether you're transpiling or not, then you end up with a working application. You don't need to do it in one shot, and that was the big scary thing. It's, you've got a big project, thousands of lines, you can't do it in an afternoon. But perhaps you can start it, and perhaps you can finish it in a week. Is this making sense, going down to the previous folder? Yeah, just it's a mechanical way. So basically, what I'm saying is, you end up moving the lint file up further up your directory stream, your 2015 lint file. Basically, copy it down and rename it. And as you convert them, slowly you move slowly up and up and up and up your directory tree. Now, to begin with, you get lots of problems. Some things you just have to write regular expression changes for. You've got some funny words that repeat themselves throughout all codes and idioms you use. But I didn't find too many problems. There were some problems, and I'll talk about them. Okay, so what's likely to go wrong? Now, you'll recognise some of those things up there. Now, here we've got the caveats. John Paul asked me about this once before. What's likely to go wrong? This goes wrong a lot when you convert with fat arrow functions. And it's just not the same. If you're doing binding all over the place, you're going to find it is going to work in a slightly different. And you're going to have to go in after it fails its unit test and apply finger magic. But because you're only doing this on a small scale to a few files at a time, and you're a good programmer and you just follow the idioms that you use every time, you're going to recognise them. What I did was after a while, okay, that's just a regular expression changing the same thing in every file. So I just write a one-line Perl expression. I really loathe Perl, but I must admit it's very powerful for one-line changes. I don't encourage its use, but I do use it. Okay. Some other issues. Some of the testing frameworks don't like fat arrow. Mocha has some issues. They actually, on their documentation, actually say, don't use fat arrows. Stick with functions. And that's because they've set some of their stuff up for this. So you can go this dot timeout, change the timeout of a unit test so it'll run within a certain time. The other thing you're going to have to do, it's not really something that's going wrong, but it is something you're going to have to do. You're going to have to convert all your callbacks or change one nasty pyramids of death to promises. You're going to have to do that by hand. Yeah, there's nothing a machine is going to be able to do. That's not going to be a mechanical process. So that's why if you go and do this in a sort of a structured way down a directory tree, you can do it. Now, how long will I be converting this stuff, even after I've turned it 3 years to an ES15 project? Trust me, you're going to be doing it for a long time. Even when you think you've converted it, you'll still be full of callbacks. Then you'll still be full of promises. And then once you've learned and decided that generators are your thing, you're going to be converting everything. Everything you see with a callback or a promise, a chain promise, you know, you'll be going, no, I can make this far prettier, I can do it in 1/3 of the lines of code. You can look at it and go, yes, that's the way it should be. So you will be fiddling for a while, but it will work anyway. So it's not like you have to jump in and convert it straight away. But your eyes will be offended after a while, trust me. Once you have the power of your fingertips, your eyes will start to get offended, and you're going to want to go down into code and fiddle around with it. Okay. So I've talked about a way of converting. It doesn't matter whether you're on the browser or on Node. You go down to the bottom of your directory structure, whether you're transpiling, because you're going to transpile that code. So currently, what would I be worried about with what what's happening in the near future? There are a few things that are happening. I was listening to a podcast the other day, Node Up, and it's about the ES5 module loader. And I started a few conversations with the people on it, so I've met them. I have one word of advice: never start off an email to someone on the TC39 committee saying, I know you're very busy, so if you don't reply, I'll understand. Don't do that, because they won't reply. So if you start off with something else like, I'm really, really interested, can you please explain what you meant when you talked on that podcast, they're more likely to reply. So, down the road a bit, they have already defined the syntax for ES modules to be loaded. You see the import statements, yeah? Rather than like the common JS type of thing, where, import from this. If you haven't, I'm going to get to some of the things that are going to be coming down the road for you. Now, the grammar's been all defined, and this is coming to you whether you like it or not. It's not supported in any of the browsers yet, but they have working stuff for all of the browsers apparently, and that's what kind of worried me, because I didn't know much about this happening. I can see John Paul looking at me. The module loader spec is not complete, but they're working on what they call roughshod module loaders. On the podcast was Forrest Norville, Bradley Mack, and Caradi Turner from TC39 committee. So this is the grammar that's coming down the road, okay? And I'm not sure that we're really ready for this just yet. And on the browser, it's more complicated than ever because you're rolling it up, you're scrunching down your code, you're taking everything that you've converted into these nice directory structures, and you're putting it in, you're mushing it up. Yeah, I'm not doing that on a daily basis, but I think most people are. They're rolling up their code somehow. Now, why is that a problem? Okay. We're going to get to a point where it is expected you will be downloading modules, ES modules, and they work in strict mode only, like no old school JavaScript. They're talking about when hipsters start saying this is not JavaScript, this is new JavaScript, it's not like the old JavaScript, but so it's all like C and C++, okay. Look, there's really no implementation in the browsers just yet. I talked to the people on the TC39 committee, and those that did reply, this was the thing that they were worried about. They're worried about the opposite of what we do. We scrunch everything up, roll it up, browserify one big module. In the future, you'll be able to get lots of little things and bring them down, but there's no HTTP2 and no speeding. For those of you who know what that is, this is getting around the problem of lots of little files downloading them asynchronously. So these are some of the issues I'm a little bit concerned with on the browser front ahead. I went and took a little bit from some of the references that I've listened to from these guys, and Bradley Mack pointed me this way. This is the module tag. Now, hands up, everyone has heard of the module tag? Okay, I hadn't. Not until yet. This is the script tag replacement, and this is in the spec, in the HTML spec. This is in there now, and this is coming to you. I don't know when, but it's coming.
In terms of like when it'll hit everywhere, it'll be a lot.
We're getting to the problem. This is the problem. Like, so my question to them, I had a few interactions with them and on Twitter, and I said, can we not do this in public? because they couldn't contact the prime. They said, okay, they're not sure when, but they're pushing very hard for the when. So there's been some multiple module specs for a while, like require.js, common module loader, WG. We're having a defined standard for the ES module. It's coming. I'm not sure quite how it's going to be implemented, but it is coming down the road quite in a short time frame. They are talking about it won't be in Node within a year, but it might be available in some of the browsers within a year. Okay, so my worry is, and when I listen to some of these people, they actually had two camps, two lots of people arguing. One thought there's not going to be anything going wrong, everyone can convert all their modules that we download to ES5 modules, we'll be able to download all our packages, everything will work fine. And the other guy says, no, that's not going to happen overnight. And we're going to have a mix of script tags and module tags and all sorts of packages out there. And I'm kind of on the line that I think we're going to have a bit of a problem. So, people at Transpile, I don't know many of you Transpile, Transpile. Yeah, okay. Okay, so there may be some problems if you want code to work in this new brave new future. So we're transpiling to the sort of what we think the future is today, and turning that into today's code, taking the expected future, turning into today's ES5. And there are some assumptions made in that. And I did get a very accurate answer from them about, and I followed it up, about what's the most likely thing to go wrong with transpiled code with ES modules in the future. And that is, if you add extra names onto modules dynamically, that will not work in the future. Yeah, if you have a module and you go in there and you hang another name on it, another function, put some more properties on it, and other people can pick them up, not going to work.
Yeah.
And that names.
It's because a module in ES6 modules is slightly different than a module in common.js.
Yeah.
And it's annoying, and they don't talk about that.
They don't. So the names.
Because it's so slight.
It's so slight, but it's oh no, yeah, I do that. Okay, so and I thought that was a good thing to do because I could hang all sorts of things on and pass it around. So
afterward, I can actually. It's a very interesting explanation about what the difference is.
Yeah. So all of the names, all of the grammar, everything in the modules in ES5 modules have to be defined up front. No putting things on there afterwards. Because it's basically it's got a different transpiling process for the strict JavaScript than we had before. Okay, but previously the sort of way modules pass out to code with both strict and non-strict JavaScript. So those are the transpiling assumptions I'm a little bit worried about in the future, and it's more so on the browser side, and because who wouldn't want to transpile? I mean, yeah, it's great. They call that stuff. It's just absolutely wonderful. So, got a couple of recommendations for you on generators and things. There's a book. It's an ebook by a guy called Valerie Carpel. He's actually the Mongoose maintainer. Yeah, I met him at the Node Meetup last month. And this must be, I think, the clearest book I've ever read about why and how and what to do with generators in ES2015. It's kind of been a dawn to me, like, I wish I'd read this at the beginning instead of struggling around with these two-line things, trying to work out how it really works. So I would recommend that as a way of going forwards. One other thing is, this is the coolest library on earth as far as I'm concerned. The co-work, and there are various ones, but honestly, you can see it will turn sort of this into this, and it's just, as far as I'm concerned, this is beautiful, and this is the way I think, and you can see from the downloads, I'm pretty setting that right there, how many people are going with the code routine path. So, what WG? This is the standard that's actually going to be in the ES module. What WG is the ES2015 modules are low to spec. So just a reference to the thing I'm actually worried about. So if you actually want to go and read it, it's quite a long read, not that interesting. But it's coming to us any day soon. And that's it, folks.